Star Wars! One of the most beloved, family-friendly franchises of all time. Though, sometimes fans can forget about the whole war part. From lethal creatures to a continuous state of armed conflict to having to listen to Jar Jar Binks talk. Ugh. Everybody's favorite galaxy far, far away is also an extremely dangerous one. Not all deaths in the Star Wars universe are created equal. In fact, some of them are straight up nightmare fuel. I'm Alain from Cinematica, and we're jumping into hyperspace and counting down the 8 worst ways to die in Star Wars. Let's get started. Number 8. Cancer from the Death Star. When the Empire ordered the newly operational Death Star to be tested on Alderaan, we see all the men it takes to operate the weapon, including the couple of troopers that have to shield their eyes as the death ray fires right past them out into space. Seriously, guys? No radiation blocking divider of any kind? Even the hospital workers that take your x-rays get to leave the room before that thing opens fire on you. A laser in our reality can heat solid steel over 3 million degrees Fahrenheit. The Death Star has a hypermatter reactor and it's capable of incinerating an entire planet. So clearly the troopers exposed to that beam are walking away with radiation burns and mutated DNA. And we're not even touching the Force Awakens Starkiller base that devours stars whole and then spits them out at planets. We're thinking you'd need at least an SPF 3500 to survive being anywhere near that blast. The hard truth is that up to 10% of invasive cancers on planet Earth are related to radiation exposure. I hope those stormtroopers have really good health insurance. Number 7. Falling off of Cloud City. Welcome to the lovely vista that is Cloud City. This lofty urban paradise is full of betrayal, heroes frozen in carbonite, and other heroes learning the painful truth of just exactly who's your daddy. But of all the features that Cloud City has to offer, one of the craziest is its open walkways, corridors, and balconies just floating at the top of the atmosphere. At that height of an altitude, all of those surfaces are going to be slick with moisture. The wind is going to be like 10 times anything you experience down here on the surface. So one wrong move, one slip off of any banister, and you're just going to plummet to certain death. So when you think of how many people die every year getting hit by cars because they were staring at their phones, how many citizens of Cloud City are just dropping like flies from such irresponsible architecture? And let's not forget, Cloud City is located on the planet Bespin, which is a gas giant, meaning there's no hard surface to go splat on. Instead, you're just gonna keep falling and falling and falling until the pressure and temperature of the planet's insides crush your fragile body like a little crumpled dead piece of paper. Number 6. Eaten by a Sarlacc. You guys remember that monster from the beginning of Return of the Jedi that Jabba almost made Luke walk the plank into? That's a Sarlacc, and they're known for slow digesting their prey over thousands of years. So let's be clear what that means. Gastric juice is made up of substances that are important for absorbing nutrients. Humans produce about 3 to 4 liters of gastric juice per day. So we don't even want to know how much a Sarlacc produces daily. Hydrochloric acid is highly corrosive. So imagine swimming around in that until you melt away into nothingness. You remember how quickly that Sarlacc devoured Boba Fett? Like, they're clearly not a fan of chewing. The greatest bounty hunter in the galaxy just found himself being slowly eroded by stomach acid for how long? Number 5. Tortured to death by the ITO interrogator. Word to the wise, never ever let the Empire capture you when you have information that they need. At best, a Sith like Kylo Ren will just force the info out of you, and at worst, you'll come face to face with an elegant, floating ITO interrogator. It's beautiful, isn't it? Until you realize that this droid's sole function is to inflict unbearable, indescribable, maximum pain. These droids come equipped with an absolute mess of electrified arms, probes, needles, and lights that do things to you that no Star Wars film has ever dared show on screen. Sometimes they inject prisoners with a mentally disabling chemical that decreases their pain threshold. They also like to take a reading of the body's most sensitive areas like the joints, neck, and the genitals.
What?
Yes, the genitals. Torture sessions typically last well over an hour, and that murder ball of a droid is nothing if not efficient. Number 4, trying to breathe on Mustafar. Let's be real, there are a ton of really crappy jobs in the Empire. Sanitation on the Death Star, or the poor bastard who has to deliver bad news to the Sith. But the worst job has gotta be being assigned to the mining colony on the lava planet Mustafar. As you might have guessed, being anywhere near an active volcano is not cool at all. I'm just saying, if the temperature doesn't kill you, then just trying to breathe will. Inhaling oxygen in an ash-filled environment like Mustafar is gonna give you horrifically painful lung scarring, or the molten hot ash will just burn your nose and throat completely closed. Imagine microscopic, jagged rocks tearing your lungs open from the inside every time you take a breath. By the way, this is an actual real-world condition called, and brace yourself for this, pneumonia ultramicroscopic silicavolcanosis. Now that is a mouthful. Number 3, death by Wookiee. Hey, what could make playing space checkers more fun? Playing with the world's most lovable sidekick Chewbacca, right? Wrong. Because if you play a game with a Wookiee, you'll probably win, especially given how floppy and useless their hands are. And as Han Solo loves to warn people, if you beat a Wookiee in a game, they will just rip your arms right out of the sockets.
I suggest a new strategy, R2. Let the Wookiee win.
Number 2, burning Death Star debris. As if getting destroyed by the Death Star isn't bad enough, you're even screwed when you manage to beat the thing. If you were to blow up an object the size of the Death Star, anywhere near a planet, the gravity of said planet would draw in all the debris from the wreckage. Imagine you're celebrating your big victory at the Ewok party. We won! We're safe from evil! Isn't this so much fun? We've got stormtrooper heads everywhere. Then, bam! The sky completely fills with fiery metal meteorites rocketing into the ground all around you. Seriously, you want to die instantly in this case, because Endor is a complete forest planet. So yeah, the entire place is gonna go up in flames that are gonna spread everywhere. Number 1, accidental lightsaber discharge. A lightsaber basically operates like a deadly flashlight. You push the button on the side and you got a laser that can cut through a steel bulkhead. But are you telling us during the thousands of years of Jedi history, not one person has accidentally pressed that button, giving a hug? With the death button right there on the side of the saber, one wrong move is gonna result in it opening up right in your belly, or somewhere lower. The worst part of the death is how dumb you'd feel. Death by stupidity is truly the worst way to go. Thanks for watching Cinematica's 8 worst ways to die in Star Wars. Which death was your favorite? You think you've got a worse way to die in the Star Wars universe? Let us know in the comments. And be sure to like this video and subscribe to Cinematica, where we help you watch smarter.